Hey, it's Matt with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Wednesday. It's September 27th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and we finally got some movement today. We actually closed. We still closed up. We actually closed above 2,500, so that's pretty interesting. I would expect prices to chop around that level, above and below it a little bit before we move forward, but we moved through it pretty quickly. I mean, we tested it a couple times yesterday, and today we closed above it, so we didn't waste any time testing that level this morning either. So be interesting to see, but we finally had some movement. We'll talk about the trades and we'll wrap it up for the day. But first trade I saw was right here. There's a shorter term channel. That's the first break. Then there was a second entry long, but that was early in the 4 or 5 in the morning, and we're moving up. And normally I would like this setup, but with this being right into the 2,500 level, I'm not so crazy about it because it's too big a chance it ticks up just a few ticks and turns down. So I marked it green. Like I said, normally I'd like that setup. It's a higher low. We're looking probably for, you're probably looking for a measured move up. And you see you got a long way to go there. And we actually went a little further than that. And, but anyway, generally I'd like that trade, but with it being right into the highs, right into a double top basically, and right into the 2,500, it's fairly risky. So in this case, it worked out great. Next time it may not. So just because that's one thing I always tell people, if you follow the rules and you miss a good trade, don't beat yourself up because you did the right thing. Because what'll happen is you'll beat yourself up and say, I knew I should have taken that, and tomorrow you take it and it'll burn you. So if you didn't take the trade, you did the right thing because it's definitely aggressive and it's definitely a little bit, you're taking a little risk there. So don't let that bother you. But notice what happens. We push up, we go right to the trend channel line. I got that right off the trend line and just drug it to the highs, and we turn down right off of it. We actually get a little close outside, move to a new high, then make a double top, and that is a 2-tick bar right there. Very low risk, long way away from the EMA. That's basically considered a lower high, double top. I like that. And you don't know that it's going to do this, but you figure you're coming back to the EMA or the trend line at a minimum, and that's a good bit away. And it turns out that you catch a runner on this easily, and you can ride this. And if you didn't enter there, when you got this failed second entry long here, you definitely wanted to enter there. But let me show you something. Here's your trend line. Notice how we shot right through that. We shot right through the EMA. We pulled back, and we're finding resistance under the EMA. Even though you get a second entry long right there, notice how it's stacked up a little bit too. That's not real serious congestion, but there's enough reasons to say, hey, we're probably going to get another leg down that I wouldn't enter here. I'd wait on a higher low at a very minimum. And we don't get that here. The bottom just falls out and you get a second leg down. And I really thought we would correct from here, but guess what? It hits the trend line. You could argue that that's not a convincing close outside. So that's a failed second entry long right there. Or that's technically on this chart, you've already had a first entry, second entry, and we actually made a new high there. So it's really just a first entry. That's 2 measured legs down, and it failed right off the trend line. That's the same thing. It looks close enough to a failed second entry long that I'm going to take that one, a nice bearish bar, and it takes off again. Again, you don't know that it's going to, move that far that fast, but that's why when prices are trending, we hold runners. So. And we finally get a close outside here. There's actually a second entry right here. Notice there's a leg up, a correction, second leg up. This is hidden, and that's a fairly bearish bar. I didn't mark it. You could probably argue for that one to be green with the hidden second entry, but I didn't mark it. But I'll go ahead and make it green with that understanding that if you saw the hidden second entry and you had a pretty good signal bar here, and you could probably take that. There's plenty of room to get out before that low, and with the move down that strong, you're going to at least test that low, and it goes and makes a whole new low of the day before it bounces. You had an engulfing bar here, and that's really, I really like that setup. But I'm not going to mark it even green because you're taking a chance. A lot of times you'll get two legs down or another push down, so you really need to wait on a new high here. But being that far away from the EMA, I really like that, and the fact that we had a close and a strong move to a new low, and you could really treat it like a new low for the day. So, but you know, you got to be careful trying to pick bottoms. You'll get burned. But and notice too that this went lower and then turned and went out the other side, so it's an engulfing bar. We got another one here. We seem to be getting a lot of those lately. I don't know why, but we're getting a lot of them. So I like entering on this one. If this would have closed equal to those highs, I'd have probably told you to wait for the true reversal pattern. But the fact that it went lower and turned and went right out the other side, and still inside, I drew that line off the top and just drug it down to the low, and you're still closing inside that. So I like that setup. And notice what happens. You get two legs up, and then you get one more little push up. And you really had everything you needed to go short right here. That's a fairly bearish bar. So you could have gone short there. I didn't mark that short because this is looking like a reversal. But with that lower low right there, you could actually go short there. And I didn't like it at the time, but looking back at it, it does meet the criteria that you could go short there, and it would have worked. But once you started making this next low and you made that high there, then this is looking real rangy. And so you need a you might could even consider going long here, but I'll tell you why I didn't like this one. It's a fairly neutral bar. It closes in the middle, and it closes in the middle here of the bar. So I don't think you got to have a good enough signal bar there. So wait on the next one, and the next one it just kind of goes sideways. Again, not a very good signal bar, but when it drops lower there, and you get that failed second entry short, and you get the confirmation that touches the trend line and that confirms it. I like going long there. Again, you don't know that it's going to take off like this, but that's the way these setups work, and that's why we like them. And that turns out to be the second trade of the day. And you could ride this all the way to the highs, all the way at least up to a double measured move here, I would say. So, and then notice what happens. This is basically a new low because it's all matching lows. And so you get a first entry short, second entry short. So that's a failed second entry short. I like going long there. And that just starts a whole new trend. And you notice what happens here. You get two measured legs up. This is really tempting, but you've been so far away from the EMA. You've had more than a measured move. If you measure that leg and then pull it over, you've had way more than a measured move. There is that short-term trend line, but also it's going long right into that 2,500 level again. So I'm just not crazy about it. You probably could argue for it maybe to be green, but I'm not even going to make it green. But it turns out, again, it's another great move, but you can't beat yourself up over that. So notice what happens. You pull back, first entry, pull back, second entry. There's not a very good signal bar there, but when it tries to go lower again and breaks above, I like entering right there. That's right before the 2 o'clock hour. That's a second entry long. And turns out to be another easy trade. We end up selling back off and, you know, closing near the, or not, yeah, we're closed. We're closed near the, right near the 2,500. We're about 4 ticks above it, but that trend line held is what happened. So But yeah, pretty good trading day. Not a lot of trades here, but you didn't need a lot. If you caught any of these, they were all had runners. They were all fairly straightforward trades. Um, Nothing too out of the ordinary, um, other than we had some movement. Uh, you almost want to call this a range day, but we traded out. We did. We fell below the overnight low and reversed. But once we got outside the uh, overnight high, we continued to stay outside of it today. Um, we closed right back around that level here, but there's enough movement here. I wouldn't, I'd call this somewhat of a trend day. We had a trend, we really had a trend up, down, and then from 10 o'clock we trended up really the rest of the day until right into the last probably 30 minutes of the day, 30, 45 minutes, something like that. So it has we weren't constantly swinging above and below the EMA. We were either below it trending down or we were above it trending up. So that's the way you kind of had to look at the day. So it's just a little bit different than a range day, even though it had some similarities to a range day. So, but hopefully you had a good day today. It was a little bit easier than some of the stuff we've seen recently. It was a little bit more straightforward. So, but anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, and we'll be back again to do it tomorrow and wrap up our week tomorrow. But I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next day.